Hello, Dex here again. It's been a bit slow with the Conflict 47 news this week, so I thought I would break up the time by introducing my British forces. The British are actually one of my newest Conflict 47 forces. I started collecting them just maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Not surprisingly, because of that, I have quite a bit less to showcase here than I did for the Soviets. Still, I think this is a pretty good representation of probably what you'd expect for an average Conflict 47 British army. Starting out with the thing that drew me to the British in the first place, and I think that's the case for many people, is the automated infantry. I ended up picking up two boxes of these, one with heavy machine guns and one with MMGs, and promptly assembled all of the MMG guys left handed for some reason. I wondered why I had such a hard time putting these together, and I had read that they were a nightmare, but it turns out when you install all of the guns backwards, it definitely does not make it any easier. That said, I do really like these guys, and they put in a lot of work during version 1. I am, however, looking forward to getting either plastic or resin models for these in version 2, and I intend to replace them with them when we do get them. They're great models, and I really like them, but they are very fragile with the way they're currently assembled. One thing that I do wish I had done when I had originally assembled these was I wish I had pinned them. That was something that I wasn't super comfortable doing just because I had never done it before. But after having struggled through assembling 10 of these, I do wish that I had. I had the misfortune of dropping one of these off of a gaming table onto a hard floor, and it was an absolute nightmare to put it back together. Moving up in size a bit, we have an automated carrier and three of the automated mobile platforms. I have one of each of the mobile platforms. Originally in version 2, they were considered a medium anti tank gun, a light howitzer, and three heavy machine guns for the three different platforms. In version 2, I'm curious what they're going to do for stats for these. The medium anti tank gun really should not be a medium anti tank gun. Size wise, it lines up much closer to a light anti tank gun, and I think it would be a good idea for it to be moved in that direction. The automated carrier with its dual autocannons was always a good pick, and I foresee it being a really popular pick in version 2 as well. This is also a really fun kit to make because it's actually the plastic Bren carrier kit with some metal additional pieces, and it actually goes together really well. It's a good example of using metal and plastic kits together to make something new, and I wish more of the kits fit together as well as this one does. The rules for the automated mobile platforms were actually pretty strange in version 1, and I'm very curious how they're going to handle them in version 2. In version 1, they counted as a soft skin vehicle with a 6 plus damage value, and you took them in the armored car slot. But they also had a gun shield, which gave them the tough vehicle rule. It was really a strange combination of rules between partly infantry and partly vehicles and taking up your armored car slot. For the new edition, I suspect that they're going to do something a little bit easier to understand with less things that you need to look up in the middle of a game. As for weapon loadouts of the three, the anti tank gun was actually the one that I took the least. Most of the time, I would either go with the light howitzer or the three heavy machine guns. It's really hard to argue with three heavy machine guns. Looks wise, these definitely check off the pulp box. They look like something out of like a 1950s comic book. So just for that, I love them. They're a great little unit, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what type of stats they have in version 2. One of my favorite details on these models is that on the light howitzer version, it actually has spare cannon shells on its back. And apparently, it reaches back, grabs the cannon shell, and then loads it into its own back in order to fire the howitzer, which is just absolutely crazy, and I love it. Moving away from the automated units, I have a British heavy Tesla cannon with the crew in power armor. This is one of my favorite towed guns. I just love the look of it. I think it was a great, fun model to build. And even if it is a complete nightmare to use in game, like most towed artillery, I found myself taking it more often than not. It very rarely, if ever, delivered for its points values, but I didn't care. It's just such a cool looking model. I have a tendency to bring it even when I know I shouldn't. If ever there was a model where rule of cool decides whether I bring it or not, this is it. It checks all the boxes. It's got a great look to it. And honestly, I'm really happy with the way that the paint job came out on it. I am dying to get the full details on the new Rift Tech weapon rules. That's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to finding out about. It sounds like Tesla weapons have changed completely from the way that they worked previously, and that is totally fine with me. One of the things that really bothered me about the heavy Tesla cannon in version 1 was that it was essentially just a better super heavy anti tank gun. And it having unique rules and unique abilities, totally okay. I'd much rather see it be that. All right, next up we have some big, heavy, stompy robots. I actually don't have a huge amount of British walkers. I only have three, but they're three really good ones, and I'm super happy with these. Walkers in version 1 were unique in that they were actually vehicles that were able to make close combat attacks. Instead of just being able to run people over, if you had fists, you could actually punch them or pick them up or squish them with your feet. It was really fun, and I'm hoping that they stay that way in version 2 because that is a huge draw for the game. I have a light, medium, and heavy walker, which kind of covers all my bases and gives me something for every job. First up, we have the Merlin Heavy Walker. This was actually a gift to me from another Konflikt player. He had already glued it together and then later found out that the Merlin was not available to American forces. I had offered to give him some money for it, and he said, "Nope, here you go, just take it." And that's how I ended up with it. So I painted it up, and it's been in my force ever since. The Merlin is a bit of a jack of all trades walker. It's got a medium anti tank gun, a pair of heavy machine guns, and an MMG. If you are a fan of Battletech, to me it looks like a Shadowhawk, and that automatically gives it a special place in my heart. Next up, we have the Jackal Jump Walker, which is a light walker, but it is jump capable, and it is armed with an MMG and an infantry flamethrower. This thing was always worth its points. I never had a game where I took this and felt like I didn't get value out of it. Whether it was the ability of the flamethrower to wipe out a squad, or just charging in with fists and getting into melee with it, this thing pretty much always earned its points back, even if it was just the fact that it could do those things tying up enemies that needed to take care of it. With the new version 3 force structure, this thing's going to pretty much be an auto include. And then we have the Hornet. Technically an anti-air walker, but in reality, this thing is basically an anti-infantry machine. With 4 heavy machine guns and a heavy autocannon, it absolutely chews through power armor. Now, obviously, in version 2, we don't know what the rules for power armor will be, but I suspect that 450 caliber machine guns and a 37mm autocannon probably going to solve most problems. The big advantage that the Hornet has over some of the other Kodiak chassis walkers is that it has 2 fists. Most of the walkers that swap out the original weaponry do so by losing the 2 fists and gaining new weapons on their arms. This one retains the fists and replaces the anti-tank gun, and that is a perfect trade. This thing is able to mix it up in melee with its fists if it needs to, or lay down a huge number of shots. Now, I know this is unpopular and most people really, really like the linebacker, but I gotta say that the original Grizzly chassis walkers have a special place in my heart. and I love the look of them. To me, this is the quintessential Conflict 47 walker. Now, if those walkers weren't enough, we also have a Churchill Meteor. This was a really fun unit in version 1, but I have absolutely no idea what its armament's going to look like in version 2. But it's still a Churchill, and it's a heavy tank. The Churchill Meteor kit actually is a full Churchill kit with just this additional resin turret. And because of that, you can actually build it as a Churchill AVRE as well. And anyone who has played Bolt Action version 2 or version 3 knows that the Churchill AVRE is a fantastic platform. Finally, as an addition to my British forces, we have my Italian power armor in Galahad suits. Now, originally this was part of my Italian forces. However, it appears that in version 2 of Conflict 47, the Italian forces are being broken up and assigned to other nations. And in this case, the Galahad armor, being a British based design, were moved into the British forces. And that brings us to the end of my Conflict 47 British forces. And I just figured I would post this up and give a little overview of what I already have and how they've performed for me. Until next time, stay weird.